Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Lesson 25, the We Do portion of our lesson. Here we're going to take our goal and we're going to break it down a little bit more, talk about the little bit more of the why and how it works. That way you might have a little bit better understanding when you go tackle some of those exit tickets or future problems. Right? And our goal in this lesson is to divide a whole number by a unit fraction. And as I stated with the teach piece of the video, please make sure you draw your models and keep them neat and organized. Those models will really help you in getting a stronger foundation in dividing fractions. Okay? So, without further ado, let's get started. If you haven't already, you can open up your workbook page to page 110. It's lesson 25, the problem set. And as we mentioned in the teach piece here, we're not going to focus on these words and these little phrases here. I think it's just going to be a little bit too confusing based on the vocabulary and how it's presented. We're going to focus just solely on the models. And with our help, since it's almost dinner time as I'm creating this video, let's go ahead and think of it in food relation, right? So in this particular problem, in letter C here, on page 110, we have 5 wholes, and we're breaking them up and dividing it into thirds. So here's my 5 candy bars, right? And I'm going to label my candy bars as one whole. All good mathematicians label their models. Right? And let's say I brought these 5 candy bars into school on the first day back from our closure. Right? And I want to give some out for all the hard work that you've done. How many students are going to get the candy from me if I cut it all up into thirds? So, it's a great question. I'm going to take my first candy bar and I'm going to divide it into thirds. And we're going to do it for all 5 of them because we know in fractions we want equal pieces. And anyway, it really wouldn't be fair if I gave more candy to one genius than someone else. So I'm going to cut this up into thirds. I'm going to cut this one. And as I stated, I'm going to cut all of them up into thirds. And being a good mathematician, math genius, I'm also going to show some labels to it. Okay? Now, as I work, I'm going to say, well, I'm going to give this 1/3 right here, this part of the candy bar, I'm going to give it to one genius. Right? And then I'm going to take this part of the candy bar, the second 1/3, I'm going to give it to a second genius. And this last piece here is going to a third genius. So within one whole candy bar, I'm going to be able to give it to 3 geniuses. But again, our problem here is to find out how many students are going to get those candy bars. Right? So in this part is going to be the 4th student and the 5th student, the 6th, 7th, the 8th. 9 geniuses are going to have splitting these 3 candy bars. The 10th genius, the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, the 14th, and lastly, 15 geniuses. 15 geniuses are going to share these 5. So how many students? 15. Right? And it really makes sense if we check our work, right? Come over and we'll do a little bit of a check. Right? We can go the opposite way with the opposite work here and do 15 times 1/3. And that just becomes a review work for us. We know it's going to be 15 times 1. Fraction line means divide by 3. As we continue, we'd have 15 divided by 3. Or it might just look like 15 divided by 3. And we know that as a basic fact, 5. And it certainly checks because I have 5 whole candy bars to start with. Okay. So let's try another one of those as I scroll down. Let's do letter D. Again, we're not going to focus on these parts here, right? But I am starting with 3 candy bars, and I'm going to label those because as our next problem we're going to do, we're not going to have the actual candy bar. We're going to draw our model fully. So we have our 3 full candy bars, making me hungrier and hungrier as I go. And we are going to break those up into fifths. Right? So think about fifths. We need 4 lines. I'm going to do that. But I know that I want all of them equal because I know if I'm giving you part of a candy bar when you came back from closure, for example, you would certainly want an equal piece to the person next to you. So here's my 4 lines to show my 5 pieces. And here are my 5 pieces as well. And being a awesome mathematician, I'm also going to label those as 1/5. Now, how many geniuses are going to get our candy bars? And let's get a little smiley face. Well, there's a fellow genius that's getting this candy bar. There's 1 genius, 2, 3, 4, 5 geniuses are sharing this candy bar. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 geniuses are going to get candy. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 geniuses are getting some of the candy bar. 15. Very similar to up here as our quotient, but our holes were different, and we cut those candy bars into different amounts. So these 15 geniuses in this problem here are going to get more candy, right, than the 15 geniuses down here, just because we cut that hole up into smaller parts. Right? So again, this model really helps us in better understanding dividing of fractions. And let's do a couple more here. Right? And now I know this is not a lot of space. So if you need more space, you have that left-hand side of your lesson, page 109 there, right? Or use a scratched piece of paper if you need to. At this point, you have some documentation into your workbook. You could use a whiteboard or a slate if you'd like. I know a few of you do that. But let's do A. Right, we're going to find out what this equals. And I'm going to draw 5 candy bars. Okay, and I always like to think of them as candy bars. And try to make them about equal as possible. And kind of squeeze them in here. There's 5 candy bars. And I'm going to cut them into halves. So I cut them in half or snap the candy bars almost in half there. How many students are going to get the candy bars? We'll get our little smiley faces here. Well, there's 1 genius, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 geniuses are getting candy. 10. 5 divided by 1/2 is going to give us 10 people, or 10 groups if you think of it. Right? Now, take a moment and pause the video, try letter B, and then play the video and see how you did compared to me talking through it. Okay? I'm waiting for you to pause. Try to solve it. All right, welcome back. Hopefully you did pause it for a moment. And in this one, we have 3 holes. So we have 3 candy bars. 3 models. And really what we didn't do over here, we should do it over here. We should label those being 1 holes. And we're going to then divide those or cut them into halves. Now we have smaller pieces. Remember division, we're thinking smaller pieces. Well, there's some small pieces. How many students are going to share these 3 candy bars? Going down to our pen. Well, there's 1 genius, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 geniuses are going to get candy. So 3 divided by 1/2 is going to give you 6. And let's do one more of these, right, as we wrap up our we do portion. Right? And if you are in my small group right now, I would ask each of you, how many candy bars or models am I going to draw for 4 divided by 1/5? And again, certainly pause the video, try it out yourself, and then use me and the video as a check. Well, actually, we probably should check this problem out to make sure it works anyway, so we'll do that too. If you were thinking 4 candy bars or 4 models, you are certainly correct. I'm going to draw 4 of them. And if you're like me and you run out of space, well, you come over to letter D. We're not going to do D right now. I'm going to label them as well. 1 holes. That one down here. And we want to cut it up into how many parts? If you're thinking 5, you're correct. Right, so 4 lines to make 5 parts. And it's always good just to double check too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm doing that in all of our parts. And we'll just label one of those to represent that you did indeed make 1/5. You don't have to go ahead and label every single piece 1/5. So how many students are going to share these candy bars? Right, now I don't have a lot of space here, so I might just write it in and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14. Now there's 15 just for these 3. There's 16th, a 17th student, an 18th, a 19, and look at that, 20 students. 20 students are going to share those candy bars. So our quotient, our answer for 4 divided by 1/2 is going to give us 20. Okay? Now as a check, as I move myself down here, it would probably be a really great idea to check our work. Right? And we're going to work backwards doing the opposite one here. Instead of dividing, we're going to multiply. Do 20 times 1/5. And that would give us 20 times 1 divided by 5. So we'd have 20 divided by 5. Or you could look at it as 20 divided by 5 this way. Basic fact. Going to give us 4. And does that match over here? Yes, it does. So we do have a great looking check. Now, your exit ticket today are going to be these 2 right here. So please make sure that you draw a model of each of these. Okay. And I hope that helps a little bit in your understanding of dividing a whole number by a unit fraction for lesson 25. And if you're still confused, reach out to me. Okay? Reach out to your fellow geniuses. Don't just write I'm confused or a big question mark. Right? Problem solve, persevere through it. You can do it. All right? I wish you luck. Enjoy the rest of your day.